In September 2024, we closed out a wholesale deal that netted us $81,000 in assignment fees. But this deal was far from a walk in the park. Getting this to close involved constant follow-up, kicking out stubborn tenants, and an 8-month wait time until we actually closed it out. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through the entire timeline of this deal, nothing held back. There are a ton of wholesale gurus that don't do what they teach, so I wanna show you what it really takes to get a deal closed of this size. Whether you're a brand new wholesaler or running an existing business, this will open your eyes. So first things first, let's dive into acquiring the lead. So we were able to get in touch with this lead by cold calling an absentee owner list. And no, this wasn't me or my partner doing the 1,000 dials each day or an outsourced company that's doing all the marketing for us. From the 4 years of doing wholesale real estate, from us doing the cold calling ourselves to outsourcing it to other marketing companies, we've finally been able to bring that in-house. And no, these aren't Americans that are doing all the cold calling for us. These are people that are living in Egypt that we've personally hired ourselves. We have over 30 virtual assistants that are not only cold calling for us and our company, but for our other clients that decided to take on our services. Now, that in itself is a whole nother business and I'm not gonna get too much into the weeds with, but that is how I was able to acquire this lead. We got in touch with this lead back in January of 2024 and we didn't even qualify them until February. That's the misconception with cold calling. You're not always gonna get a bite on the first call. This is why I stress tracking data. You never give up on a potential lead that can make you tens of thousands of dollars. So once we generated the lead, I made sure to put him into our CRM to keep everything organized. From there, we hit him back in February so we can actually ask the right qualifying questions to figure out what his situation was all about. He just so happened to be a distressed landlord whose tenants weren't even paying. He wanted out because he was paying for costs directly out of his pocket, but he still wasn't quite ready to sell. We followed up with this guy regularly until June 7th, where he was finally fed up with these tenants that weren't paying it and he wanted out. We got even more information from here. Turns out he was 80 years old and he was really ready to get out of this one. There was no mortgage on the property, all taxes were paid, and in Chicago, that is a wholesaler's dream. The major problem was gonna be having to deal with these tenants that we have to get out, which we'll cover further into the video. Immediately after he told my lead managers that he was ready to sell this, we decided to pass this over to my acquisition team. From there, we were able to set up the appointment for June 20th and we got the deal signed that day. So now that we were able to get that contract inked with the seller, let's move on to connecting to a cash buyer. So we started generating cash buyer leads on this deal July 2nd, and all we were doing was cold calling through our big list of cash buyers. If you want to know how to build your cash buyers list, make sure to go check out this video that I made on it previously. I'm telling you, it's very, very simple. And then once July 15th rolled around, the deal was sold. Now, from using that method of getting cash buyers, we were able to get the deal sold in 2 weeks on July 15th. But we still had to deal with those tenants. There were 3 tenants in the property that we had to help relocate, and it's not as straightforward as just having them get up and go. And apparently, one of these tenants weren't even paying for an entire year, so you can only imagine how big of a head that this tenant had. So we had to get a little bit creative in order to get them out. We ended up compensating them over $7,500 to get them to relocate out of this property, because let me tell you, they were not compliant, so we had to give some sort of incentive to have them get out of the property. This was a grueling process that took all the way up until August, but sometimes this is just a cost of being in the wholesale business. The reason why we're okay forking up $7,500 on this deal is because we know our numbers and we know that we can afford paying $7,500 on a deal that is gonna net us $80,000. Unfortunately, this is something that happens from time to time, so if you are dealing with this right now, don't panic. It's just part of the process. So we got the tenants out of the property, we got the contract inked with the buyer, contract inked with the seller. Now let's finalize this deal. From here on out, it was smooth sailing. A lot of people tend to complicate the title company process when it is as simple as calling them and saying, hey, I got a property under contract. I would like for you guys to facilitate the closing and pull title on this. Now, keep in mind, every city, every county, every township is a little bit different and they all require different things in order to close. For this one, we needed some sidewalk report, a water reader meeting, and this and that. Every single township is different. But luckily for you, that's what the title company is for. And that's why you pay them for their services so they can let you know what documents you need and what city requirements you need in order to get the deal closed. So many beginners think that once you get those 2 pieces of paper signed that you have to do everything in your own power to get the deal closed. Listen, that's what the title company is for. They offer a service to help you get a deal closed. All in all, the deal ended up closing towards the end of September and we ended up netting $81,000 on this deal. Now, enough about about me and my business, I want to give you some key takeaways from this deal that you can use in your business. Number one, you cannot expect these monster deals unless you are willing to put in that work and that time necessary to get these deals locked down. One of the reasons why this deal was so lucrative was because most wholesalers don't have the patience to see this kind of a deal go through. A lot of new wholesalers come in with this entitlement expecting results immediately, and while you can see a 10, 20, 30K deal in like a 2-month time span, these bigger deals are a process. Number two, use the correct softwares and track everything. If we had decided to let these deals go after the first road bump or just not putting in the right information into our software, this deal never goes through and we miss out on $80,000. Now, when it comes to softwares and tracking, the two biggest things that I can't stress enough is having a CRM and tracking your KPIs. A CRM keeps everything organized. You keep track of all of your leads. You can set up automated follow-ups, automated text messages, emails, calls, you name it. And then in terms of tracking your KPIs, we're tracking the amount of calls that we're making, the amount of leads that we're generating, the amount of leads that we're qualifying, the amount of appointments we're setting, the amount of offers we're making, the contracts in, the contracts out, everything. When I say we're tracking everything, I really mean that we're tracking everything. Reason being, if you qualify 50 leads, yet you only made 2 offers, what good does it make to have these leads in your system? Or if you're not using a CRM and you're keeping track of all your leads in pieces of paper or Google Doc, what if that pieces of paper gets thrown out? Or what if that Google Doc was on your student email and that email address gets wiped and now you lost all your leads? You need to stay organized. You could be missing out on tens of thousands of dollars because you're just letting all of these warm leads slip through the cracks. Track everything. Get the right softwares. And number 3 is gonna be having great talent on your team that can pick up the slack. Our marketing team over at our call center is the only reason why we picked up this lead in the first place. Our acquisition team, shout out Cassidy, made sure that we set an appointment immediately after the lead told us that he is ready to sell definitively. I myself wasn't really that involved in this transaction because I created the systems and built them all out to make this business scalable. I'm not doing everything in the day-to-day and I'm not just hustling these deals myself 24/7. And honestly, this should be your goal if you're stuck doing everything yourself right now. Look, I know it sounds like a lot, but me and my business partner have built out these proven systems that help us source and close deals like this every single month as if they were on autopilot. So rather than trying to build out these processes on your own, why don't you just copy us? We have our program called the Inner Circle where you get live coaching, get to see exactly how we're running our wholesaling business that's consistently doing $70,000 to $80,000 every single month. If you're interested, you can check the link in the description. But otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you later.